Hello, my fellow YouTubers. My name is James, and I wanted to make this video tonight because I am currently the victim of gang stalking and SIM swapping and internet hacking and random people pulling up in my driveway and threatening me. And then I'm left with this decision to make my business public, to air out some of the problems that I've been facing alone for the past 3 years, because I believe that this callous group of unethical cowards, okay, who are manipulating and trying to force my demise, are obviously behind these schemes. So today I got a SIM card for my phone, a new one, because I noticed I wasn't getting my notifications. And I noticed my security system was acting weird. And I've been dealing with this for 3 years, so I know it right away that something's up. Well, I go to put my SIM in my phone, and my provider requires that you activate the SIM card online before you even have service. Well, I activated it, and what do you know? Oh, excuse me. I didn't activate it. What I'm trying to say is I didn't activate it, and I have service right now. How is that possible? I don't know. Okay. Well, a couple months ago, I called the sheriff because my neighbor across the street was logged into my Google account. And I pinged his location and showed there was a device in the house logged into my Google account. These people are from another country. They sit in the house all day and their vehicle is nicer than mine. Their vehicle's worth more than where I live, probably. Okay? But my point is the sheriff wouldn't take a report, and the evidence was overwhelming. And he tried to tell me that it was a civil matter. Okay? If someone had your wife's phone SIM swapped and was logged into her Google account and was tracking her every movement online and where she was going, where I come from, you're a piece of shit. And you deserve what you got coming to you, legally speaking. Well, I'm doing the thing they won't want me to do right now. I should have been doing this the entire time. I was going through the pain and the suffering by myself after my father died. Okay? My father died in 2019. Some fucking truck driver rear-ended him and his employees that were following him to go get a backhoe in Tennessee and come back to Florida. They never made it back. Okay? And this truck driver at the scene, according to the information I was given, wiped his cell phone before the state trooper could get his hands on it, supposedly. Okay? I got the news 2 days later from my mother. I was the last one to find out. I left my entire life, left my home, all my possessions, and I fled to my father's bedside. When I got there, he was in intensive critical condition, okay? And being a diabetic, that's pretty serious, you know? I mean, from what the doctor said, he was brain dead and would never have a normal life again except on life support. And my dad did concrete for 40 years. All right? He's from Detroit, Michigan. He was 59 years old. All right? Well, my point is that this scumbag, and I'm not going to say his name, Guess what the Alabama judge gave him? 1 year in prison for murdering 2 people. And the other guy, guess what? He was in the ICU, skin grafts, amputee, deaf, dumb, blind. I'm not sure. That's what I was told. Never met him. Well, what does my crooked attorney do while that's going on? He gets a settlement offer. You know what he does? He doesn't take it. And he forces the estate to stay open for 3 years. And during that time, my phone was hacked the entire time, practically. I was being followed wherever I went by people I've never met in my life, constantly seeing them in the same areas at the same time. Then my siblings, I got 5 other siblings, wouldn't come to my father's aid to give him a proper burial. And they all had jobs and were well off. Okay? I took the last bit of money I had, and I had no choice but to have my father cremated. Meanwhile, I got some aunt that I don't know claiming that I was never my father's son, that I was never in his life, and that I'm some type of criminal, narcissistic thug, I don't know, drug dealer or something. Couldn't be any further from the truth. I've had several jobs throughout my life, and at the time when my father died, I was working as a repossession man. Well, a week before my father died, my repo truck engulfed in flames. The fire marshal came to the truck and he said, "This is a suspicious fire. The battery core on the left side, it's gone. It's not there." He said, "That tells me something's wrong." Well, they didn't investigate it. Well, my father, okay, he was just doing the best he could with what he had by himself. And he was going through the hardest time of his life, and I was calling him on the phone. Well, come to find out, after I get his possessions back, mind you, not only did he have one phone, but he had 2 phones because the second phone belonged to his employee that he loaned to him because he didn't have one. Both of those phones were completely data wiped, factory reset when I got them back. My father's briefcase was grinded open because it was a locking briefcase, and all of his paperwork was thrown about in his truck. And when I got the property that was left, I noticed the title to my father's backhoe was missing. Okay, and I brought all this to the trooper's attention, and he denied all of this. Didn't make any sense. Well, like I said, I'm dealing with this crooked criminal organization of people in my community who portray themselves as upstanding citizens and business owners, but they're not. And so while I was running my father's business and taking care of his things and his dog and doing what any good son would do who admired and loved his father, these people were trying to lead me to my doom and steal what little I had left or what little my dad had left to offer. And so what did they do while all that was going on? Well, not even a year later, I'm going to get remarried to my ex-wife. Yeah, I love her. And just before that happened, I fired one of the attorneys because I realized he was unethical and he was cooperating with these relatives of mine who were only out to hurt my father. All right. And so this crooked attorney comes over to my house and begs me not to fire him. And meanwhile, he's bragging about how he's got some kind of ties with some kind of cultish I don't know what you call it, people that it like basically like Homeland Security, and they take people out for a living, you know. And he was telling me how he could do this, that, don't fire him. And I called the other attorney and I asked for the case file. Well, what did this asshole do? He volunteered to fire himself after I fired the other attorney, when I wanted to see what was going on, because they weren't telling me the whole truth. Right at that time, my brother and my two sisters are all calling over here to Florida, claiming that I'm clinically insane. Oldest trick in the book when you're a piece of shit is to accuse someone of a mental illness. All right? Just because I'm passionate and I'm a man doesn't mean I'm insane. Just because I love my dad and I believe in doing the right thing doesn't make me insane. What's insane is that the man who took my father's life and someone else's and destroyed another's life remained free for 3 years. Even went on the run. The U.S. Marshals were looking for him, I was told, by the state troopers. Once again, I don't know what's true or not true. I don't know what to believe. I only know the facts, and the facts are adding up to all that. Well, he gets 1 year in prison. Just a few months ago, they gave him 1 year. Okay? There's a truck driver in Colorado right now serving a life sentence for murdering 4 people. And it was all over the news, all over the nation. But yet, what happened with my father never made the news. It was under wraps. There was an article that they did locally, and they claimed that my dad and the other 2 people were of a certain age that they weren't. All right. So right now, I'm realizing that not only was my phone SIM swapped, the one I'm using right now, but my Wi-Fi, my computer, all of it hacked, logged into. And there's nothing I can do about it. Suppose I could turn the power off. Well, this is my point. You tell me how on God's earth a man takes out 3 people and he gets 1 year in jail. Something ain't right about Alabama for that one. And it's sad because my dad loved Alabama. I used to live there. Kind of grew up there. But when I was holding his hand at his bedside as he took his last breath, and I was the only one there, my whole world came tumbling down. And all I had was my father's keys, my father's wallet, my father's teachings, my father's love, my father's eyes, his spirit, his attitude. And I emulate him because I have his name. So, what makes me insane is I believe in the truth. And the truth is, I have high anxiety and PTSD. I've been hit by 2 trucks coming from 2 different directions. I got an L4 and an L5 crushed vertebrae, a busted hip, a busted ankle, broken ribs. All right? I've been hit over 4 times on my motorcycle and survived by the grace of God and the Spirit. And why was that? Because God knew, Spirit knew, that I was going to have to clean up the mess that these sickos, that these psychos made. So I'm making this public after taking the abuse for 3 years. Keeping my mouth shut and getting ran over every day. All right. Went through a divorce. Had to have a critical surgery. My dog was poisoned by my neighbor and had 14 seizures in one night. I had nobody except a bunch of siblings with their hands out who weren't a part of my father's life. As I was commenting on a video on YouTube, my comments were being deleted. Well, it makes sense because my phone is hacked and I haven't activated my SIM card, but yet I have service. So what I realize is even if I don't pay my account, I'll probably still have service for free because there's some Looney Tune and a group of people trying to shut me up. Well, let me tell you people, you're not going to shut me up. I got proof. I got the pudding. And in the pudding is the proof. I don't do drugs. I seldomly have a beer. Rarely. Okay. I don't get any kind of wasted. None of that. Those days are way behind me. Occasionally, I might go get some CBD gummies. You know, my point is so many points, and I didn't know what to say. But my name's James Robert Villela, and I love my family, and I love my father. His name is Robert Villela, and we were father and son my entire life. Pictures together, memories together, a life together. And my father was my hero. And he was taken away from me. Now, I'm mourning my father's death. And I love the smell of tobacco because those were my memories, sitting there with my dad, watching him smoke a cigarette, drinking coffee, sweet tea, talking about anything and everything. He was my best friend, my hero. I've never been so scared in my life for no reason at all. Until I realized all the truths that I've realized. Okay? I had to make this video because I had to make this video because I am the only truth left. I got 2 dogs. One of them's Buddy. He's Mimpin Chihuahua. He's my dad's dog. I got my other dog, Buster. He's been with me for 10 years. He's having seizures. Because somebody wanted my dog dead so they could break into my house. I got 3 cats, and I love them to death. And that is my family. Animals. My real family are savages. Vultures. Weasels. Snakes. They work in law enforcement. They manipulate the law. They abuse the law. They misguide people, acting like they're good Samaritans, good stand-up people, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been fighting this good fight, and I'm going to keep fighting, and I'm going to keep winning. Because the truth has set me free. And I see them when they come around, and I understand what their game is. But I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest threat to this society that I live in is for good people to stand by and do nothing. To allow the injustice to continue, the abuse to continue, the slander to continue. I was 11 years old, and a man by the name of James Riley raped and molested my sister. Well, guess what happened? He gave my sister and my mother gonorrhea. He was violently abusing me and my brothers. He was a registered sex offender living in my home. And you know what the crooked cops and the crooked Department of Human Services did? They put me and my brothers in foster homes and claimed we were responsible. No, we weren't. Me and my 2 brothers didn't have gonorrhea. It's impossible. You know what my mom did? She gave him a plea bargain. She agreed to it. The guy did less than 5 years. He lives in Brooklyn, New York right now, so I was told. My point is how does this corruption versus the evidence go unmatched, unparalleled? How is it able to be twisted and conveyed in such a way? Well, it's because we live in a world where there are people that wake up every morning and they get in their car and they drive around because it's their job. And they're looking for their next victim, their next Jesus Christ, their next crusader that they can lead to the cross and hold responsible to make themselves and their organizations look good, because that's what they do. Bunch of pirates, if you ask me, fronting. Now, the reason why I'm an outlaw is not because I own a gun, which I don't. It's not because some organization I'm with. No. The reason why I'm an outlaw is because I'm different. The reason why I'm an outlaw is because when they call me insane, I civilly handle them accordingly. I put it on paper. So I've put all this on paper, and I'm ready to turn my evidence in. I'm waiting for him to mess up big time because a lawsuit is under works. They took my dad from me. They took my life from me, and they labeled me something I wasn't. And they let the people who were responsible go. Now that's sick. Now, there's a man by the name of Kenneth Terry that doesn't exist anymore, from what I was told by my father. And the reason why he doesn't exist anymore, well, only Lena Belliner can tell you that. Where's Kenny Terry? Barbara Terry's brother. Where's he at? Well, according to my grandmother and according to my father, he was murdered and buried under a house in supposedly Taylor, Michigan, or Detroit, Michigan. And there's a $14,001 life insurance policy he's a beneficiary to, or some kind of policy that he's never claimed to this day. Now, I don't know about you guys, but what man on the face of this earth wouldn't go pick up a $14,000 check? Now, the year this would have happened was 1991. 1992, somewhere in between there. And right after this guy came up missing, my Uncle Tony had his motorcycle. And strangely enough, from what I was told by my father, is that my Uncle Tony was doing block work at her and her husband's house when Kenny Terry came up missing. Well, then my dad proceeded to tell me that my Uncle Frank, rest in peace, thought he was buried in Taylor, Michigan. Now, I'm offering a reward for any information for Kenneth Terry to come forward and prove that he's still alive, because from what I was told by my father, which, why would my father lie to me? Kenny Terry's dead. So, when my dad died and this woman and her people did what they did after my dad died and were unsuccessful, in between that, she filed affidavits that were perjurious in nature and slanderous in nature. Okay, and I believe all this was because of her interest in my father's life. My dad said in 2006, after I went to my mom's wedding, she suddenly showed up over here at the house. And she was asking questions to see what he knew. Well, I tried to call the authorities and tell them about all this information up there in Michigan at Lincoln Park. And you know what happened when I called Lincoln Park, Michigan? You know what happened? No one would answer the phone at the police station. So I called the state police. And trying to talk and communicate to the guy, I couldn't get anywhere with him. Didn't make any sense. Well, she was bragging about she worked at the Maricopa Sheriff's Office and she's some big-time dignitary and she's got clout. Well, when my brother supposedly OD'd on Benadryl, which is just a big old crock of shit, guess what she did? She hopped on, she got in touch with the reporter and she commented about it. According to my brother, she wrote him some letters a long time ago He wasn't a part of her life. And before my brother died, he told me that she was the one who was out to get me. Well, now it kind of makes sense why she would be out to get me, filing false affidavits in court and slandering me in my community and telling people I'm some fucking violent criminal thug. And then trying to sue my dead father for, God, the amount of money she was after, it was impossible to obtain. But when I won all those battles, you know what they did? They tried to play the I'm clinically insane, I'm mentally insane card. That's funny. Real clever. Well, thank God for the writ of habeas corpus. Get me before the judge. That's what this video is right now. Get me in front of the judge who gave my father's killer 1 year in prison. Get me in front of the judge that forced my father's estate to stay open for 3 years when there was an offer on the table after 3 months when my father died. Get me in front of the judge or the bar that gave these attorneys their attorney's license. That's what this video is. It's a plea for justice. My story checks out. My evidence is overwhelming because it's in the facts. It's plain Jane. It's logic. It's illogical to think that I'm lying right now because the truth is logically what should be being thought.